More meds. This guy's just doping up all day long. Like, just stimulant after stimulant, probably.
It is good. He's actually using a decent tactic called pieing off a corner.
Got it.
So like you hug the side. If you ever seen like Saving Private Ryan when they're running up to the Americans and they're like, flash! And the guy goes, thunder! And you keep coming at me, I yell it again, flash! You look at me with confusion, I'm shooting you in the face.
Flash!
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Experts React. My name is Cameron Fath. I am a former Army Ranger, and to my right,
Dr. Jordan Wagner, board-certified ER doctor. Today we're going to check out, what game we're going to check out?
We're going to take a look at Escape from Tarkov. Now, I did this game with Israel a little while back, but the game looked super awesome, and I figured it'd be good to have, an expert that knows how to make holes and an expert that knows how to plug them.
I think that's a perfect idea. I even checked out this game and did some of the healing mechanisms, so it's going to be really sweet to see healing mechanisms versus putting holes in. Do we plug? Do we not?
Oh no, let's find out. Let's check it out.
Let's check it out.
Okay, Escape from Tarkov, hiding in a bush.
It's a good place to be.
Bushes can't stop bullets.
No, but it conceals you.
Yes, that's exactly what it is, concealment. You are absolutely right. Are you an Army Ranger?
No, I'm definitely not. I've seen a lot of shows.
Seen a lot of Criminal
games.
Minds.
That's right.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, we got a med kit. We got some meds. I love it. Ooh.
He's doping himself up.
You can have like morphine, right, as a common med. Pills if you're in pain, which won't work that fast.
Yeah, pill packs are included in an individual's IFAC most of the time on deployment. The Army tells me to eat them, so I'll eat them. I don't ask any questions.
I wonder if like different scenarios, right? Do they have like if you're going into potential like chemical warfare, atropine versus like these other meds that counteract it? Are you given like stimulants like some other countries?
During like an NBC environment, which would be your nuclear, biological, and chemical, you do get kind of like an EpiPen serum. Use them according to color and according to which agent you've been exposed to. So if it's like a nerve agent, then you have to use this one. But that's kind of like special issues. So if you're going into an objective that there's like a nuclear or biological threat.
That's pretty crazy.
It is
especially because you're just like, here's your kit, this is what you use it for, boom, 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 and
go.
Don't get shot.
Yeah.
Look at all this.
Look at all those. He's got his little pill pack. Typically, medics will carry all your meds that you have to push. Okay. So individuals, soldiers will carry stuff to basically stabilize them in trauma. So your basic bandages, definitely tourniquets, needle Ds, pressure dressings and all that. Just treat minor, intermediate battlefield trauma. When the medic comes, he's able to give a little bit higher care. They can push fluid, they can push meds.
And you're not putting an IV anyway in somebody until you get them out of that.
All right, looks like we have an AK variant. There's so many variants of the AK, it seems like there comes out with a new one every year.
You have the rail on the top for all your attachments. I even know that.
Oh yeah, because you're smart.
Yeah, I would need the thing on the top so I can shoot somebody.
There we go. Oh, I'll get domed, buddy. All right, running white light, that's great. It turns it off, that's good.
Oh, okay, nice.
Looks like he knows what he's doing.
But he's getting blood on his screen, so he must be getting shot or injured. There's a lot of like changing around different things.
Oh man.
It's pretty complicated, I wouldn't be good at this.
Yeah, so room clearing gets, there's 1,000 ways to do different types of room clearing, but as long as you focus on points of domination, which are your immediate corners, right? So when you're going in a new room, you're, the first man in the stack, typically because we work in teams of 4, goes either left or right to that corner because that's his immediate threat, and then the second man would go immediately the other direction. Yeah. Typically, we're trying to establish an L shape in that room, just because that opens sectors of fire for everybody, and we cover every point of that room.
And everybody has their role, right?
Everybody has a role. So every person in that stack knows the roles of each person, so it can constantly be reorganized.
Got it. That's similar to what we have, like if a cardiac arrest comes in or trauma, everybody knows their role before you're going in. There's no chaos, there's no onlookers, nobody's watching. It's like the team that's there, you're doing their job, everybody else get away.
And I'm sure you have that team dynamic where you know how everybody does specific things. So, I mean, you've done it enough to where it's just muscle memory at that point, and that's all because of repetition. Yeah, same dynamic in the special operations world and the conventional army. Smoke them!
Just getting them done.
Oh. Traveling down hallways, going down the center is not always the most ideal thing. It's good to hug a wall, but not be on a wall because bullets typically ricochet off. Oh man!
Okay, so what is that? You're jumping out of at least one story, 2 stories?
Looked like a 3-story, and he landed on a roof there.
Right. Can you actually? I'm assuming you got packs on, right?
Yeah,
so
you got packs, you got plates on, you got helmets on.
We see big traumas when you 3 times your own height, so that's almost a floor and a half. That can cause serious injuries. So if you're landing directly on your feet, you have forces that are going up. So you can have calcaneal fractures, you can have fractures all the way through your spine, and now you have extra weight on you.
You're bearing a load.
It's almost like, you know, the parkour people where you actually like hit and roll so you can take some of the impact off. Now he's back getting his meds, so he must be doing either getting some stimulants, some epi, or some pain meds, but you don't want pain meds at this point because the only thing that's going to help is morphine, and the morphine's going to make you tired and sleepy and doped up, and you're not going to be able to think right.
Absolutely. And I mean, it seems like you got to be on your toes when you're on a firefight. It'd be no good. Same Vietnam where everybody's hopped up.
Yeah. And epi's good. It's a stimulant to make you focus, but it's also going to jack up your heart rate, increase your blood pressure.
And if you got wounds, you're going to be pumping blood out of them faster, right?
Yep. Oh yeah.
Oh, there he is. Get him. Now turn that corner. See? Oh, what are you carrying?
What are you doing now?
So you got
he's bandaging up himself.
Oh, it looks like he's got a little Israeli bandage or a pressure dressing.
Got it. So it all depends on the wound, right? So first direct pressure, then, you know, the question was that a tourniquet or not? The issue ends up being, so your rule of thumb is direct pressure. Then if you have a hole and you're still bleeding, fill that thing up with bulky dressing, wrap it around, compress it. Doesn't stop bleeding, then you need to potentially do a tourniquet or something hemostatic like granules that the military has actually come up with. But then the issue ends up being, okay, we know tourniquet, put it on. It's gonna save a piece of your limb to save your life.
Yeah.
So if the tourniquet is on, if the limb's gone, it's useless. But then can you actually still use that limb if the tourniquet's on? You can use it as a stump. Because now you're decreasing blood flow to it.
So tight. I mean, just a properly put on tourniquet, I would not be able to bend my arm. Just because it is so tight on my arm. When I bend, my bicep flexes.
Right, exactly. Don't they have those things nowadays where people are working out where they put straps on their muscles?
Yeah, it's like blood resistance.
Right, so it's the same idea. So now you have no blood flow to your tissue. If you leave it on more than like 90 minutes to 2 hours, you're gonna have skin and tissue ischemia. And it's just dead tissue.
It's dead. And isn't that when bacteria starts to build?
It's breaking down.
You have to amputate it?
Yep, of course. And then the issue ends up being you get reperfusion injuries. So once you take that off, now blood flow's going in there, you're gonna have more complications thereafter. Use it for a short period of time and then get the damn thing wrong.
It's funny that you said pressure first and then, you know, stuff it with gauze and then tourniquet. In our military training, it's put on a tourniquet as fast as possible. It's the most easily accessible and it's the quickest way to deter that bleeding and stop that bleeding. Because I mean, honestly, we're trying to get them out there as fast as possible anyways. So tourniquets are the easiest and quick solution for that.
Exactly. And at that point, you're trying to save the person's life.
Yeah.
Because if you're putting a tourniquet on, you're probably gonna have an arterial injury.
Yes.
Or you're just, the limb is exposed. You just need to stop the major trauma that's happening and just get the person out. So you're not really typically gonna continue in a firefight unless you have to, and you can just shoot with one arm or something like that.
If the person is conscious or not, you're always like, hey, pat yourself up. I got to take care of this. So you need to be able to access a tourniquet on your own and be able to self-treat yourself with bandages and whatnot. All right, let's go out the window again. Boop.
That one's not so bad. It's like half a story.
It looks like he's got some sort of armor on because he's looking through that tiny port.
The slit,
Maybe he's got one of those giant juggernaut suits on.
More meds. This guy's just doping up all day long. Like just stimulant after stimulant, probably.
It is good. He's actually using a decent tactic called pieing off a corner.
Got it.
So like you hug the side, you hug the side of the wall, and you kind of take down your sector one step at a time. Human eyes are in the center of the body. And shoulders come out. So utilizing that technique and basically sidestepping using that barricade, I should be able to see their shoulder before they even see me.
Makes sense. We get a ton of lacerations from like glass, and they're just so sharp. It's a clean cut, but it slices you like a razor blade.
Not a lot of people know that we actually do a lot of hot wire stuff in special operations. So like we want to get away from breaking the glass on like a car window or something. But you can, to save yourself the cleanup, is put a nice piece of that see-through plastic tape, and then you'll use a window breaker, and it all will shatter, and you can just stay. You can peel it off the window all as one piece. Knives, sometimes we have glass breakers, and then the hot wire tool kit that we used had this little spring at the end. You pull it, hit the corner, and the entire window would just shatter.
Now we got survival kits.
Oh yeah.
So it depends, again, what kits you have. I know this game in particular, there's like all different levels of different kits. He's got multiple kits. Putting meds through his clothes, through his dirty skin.
Yeah, that's perfect.
I mean, you need alcohol, you need chlorhexidine, you need betadine, something to clean the skin to kill the bacteria.
You telling me I can't put an extremely clean, sanitized needle on through dirty clothing?
Nope. We have bacteria all over our skin naturally. It helps protect us. That's why like antibacterial soaps are actually not that good for us. Because you want bacteria, it protects you. It's like a symbiotic kind of relationship.
The enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Exactly. When people come into the ER all the time, side note, they're like, oh, I got a spider bite when they have this like big cellulitic thing on their leg. I'm like, did you see the spider? Mm-hmm. No. But you got a puncture wound of some sort that then inoculated the bacteria that's on your skin.
That's interesting. Fun fact, I got cellulitis in Ranger School.
Oh, there you go.
And my ankle was the size of my calf, and I couldn't even tie my boot. But it just went away.
Prove that you don't need antibiotics for everything.
I guess not. Just be strong.
Yeah, sometimes you do.
Sometimes, if you're weak.
Okay, guys, just getting pummeled. If he's wearing like any protective gear, does it work? Does it eventually fail? Like,
it all comes down to shot placement.
Got it.
We're always training to shoot center mass,
Yep.
depending on the caliber of the weapon you're firing and the type of plates. So there's different levels of ballistic plates. If you're shooting 5.56 at like a level 1, which could be considered a soft plate, it's gonna rip right through that. But like up to a level 4 can stop 5.56. But then you gotta also consider how much damage can that plate take, right? If I'm shooting the exact spot multiple times, that first shot's gonna fragment it, and then that second shot's gonna continue to push through that plate and push through that plate. In like a 3-inch area of a plate, you can probably shoot it 3 times, and then anything after that would start penetrating.
And then you also think of just like blunt trauma, right?
Yeah.
So you have all that force, snap a rib, and then if the rib is a non-displaced fracture, fine, cool. But then if the fragment punctures your lung, now you have an issue.
Yeah.
Well, you have a collapsed lung, and you gotta deal with that. Same with these guys getting like shot in the helmet, right?
Oh yeah. The concussion alone is gonna ring your bell. You're gonna feel like you just got hit in the face with a baseball bat.
How can you study that stuff? You can't use humans to like, oh, let me just check the force. Our brains are in a fixed space, surrounded by fluid, right? So it's gonna go back and forth.
It's gonna bounce off the walls.
We have it's called coup counter coup, basically, where it goes front and back, slam into the walls, and you get hit in the front, and you got bruising in the brain in the back.
Interesting. I don't remember.
Pretty knowledgeable at the moment, so you're doing pretty good.
Good. I'm glad. It comes and it goes. Friendly fire can be one of the most hard things to mitigate, just because identifying friendly forces and identifying enemy forces, sometimes like conventional we have uniforms, right? But what if you're fighting like a force that's not, uniformed? You don't know, you can't tell the difference between enemies and civilians. That's what we saw fighting the Taliban in Afghanistan, right? Communication's a big thing to help prevent that as far as frontline trace. At nighttime, it's a little easy. Typically we'd use chem lights to mark positions. Like if we go in a building and we go to the second story, we'll throw like a chem light out the window, like on a piece of string hanging, so people know, okay, we just occupied that. Probably it's the hardest thing to mitigate in the battlefield is just friendly fire.
We have issues in the medicine world where like you take off the wrong leg.
Oh.
Or something like you try to
Or they
mitigate.
leave a screwdriver.
Right.
Not friendly. Not a friendly. If you ever seen like Saving Private Ryan when they're running up to the Americans and they're like, flash, and the guy goes, thunder.
Yeah, I never knew why.
Yeah, so that's called a challenge and password. And we also have number combinations, so if there's a unit that I've never seen before and they have the same uniform on as me, they're coming towards me, I have a flashlight or something, or I yell out a number.
So you guys have safe words.
We have safe words,
Okay,
exactly.
all right. Well, actually,
And that's how we basically mitigate who's friendly and who's not. And if you don't, if I'm like, yell out, there's a flash, and I'm pointing my gun at you, and you keep coming at me, I yell it again, flash, you look at me with confusion, I'm shooting you in the face.
You don't want to fall asleep that day.
No. Friendly.
Oh, there you go.
Literally both wearing the same thing, have the same gun.
Flash!
Every time we're going in a room, we always look at the hands because A, we don't want to kill civilians, and B, we don't want to, shoot our own guy.
Right.
So when I'm turning a corner and I see someone, I'm always looking at their hands, and I'm not just blasting. I'm like taking a second.
I'm not gonna run in and start doing CPR on somebody. I'm gonna see, okay, are they awake, alive? Are there just the leads off? Like,
Yeah, you go into a
just
critical thinking.
Right. You boom, think for a second, and then act.
You ever heard of an OODA loop?
No.
Yeah, so OODA loop is kind of like a
Not a cereal.
It's how we define how we think, right? Actions. Basically, it stands for observe, orient, decide, act, right? And it's a constant loop. So technically, we're doing the OODA loop right now. If I heard the door open, I'd observe it, I'd orient myself to the door, I'd decide what I'm gonna do, and then I'm gonna act. So same thing. I observe the gunshots, I orient myself in the direction, I decide, are they friendly? No, I act. Boom. Say, for one of the drills we do to speed up that decision-making process, is we'll turn around and we'll basically have somebody call out a target number and we'll write targets on the targets, right? Or we'll write a bunch of numbers on a single target. Turn around, identify where that number is, find it, shoot it, turn back around. So in a split second, you're doing that OODA loop as fast as possible.
Got it. Get your brain going.
There was 3. Smoke 'em. it is good. He's moving side to side. It's way harder to shoot a target that's moving horizontally than it is moving linearly and vertically. Yeah, best thing to do in a firefight is literally, if you come up on somebody, say you're on the street and he pulls a gun on you and you have a gun on you, instead of running directly at him, start running horizontally while you're engaging.
I always thought like zigzags.
Yes, zigzags.
Run. We had all these like explosions. Tinnitus is that high pitch annoying noise. It's like basically a mess up of like your cochlea, which is the hearing part of your ear, and then your nerve, which is your vestibulocochlear nerve, which is the cranial nerve 8. There's no treatment for it. There's no medications, nothing. The only basically therapy is learn to ignore it. Then the other issue is you've had blast injuries where you've been around where you're like totally disoriented and you're like falling over. That's because the other part of your ear job is basically where you are in space, and it's called your semicircular canals. So when that gets disrupted by blast injuries, the fluid gets all moved around, so you have no idea where you are. So it's like, okay, this sucks, and then what are we gonna do? I gotta figure out, I'm drunk, you know, I feel drunk, I can't, my stable's off, so you have to like pause for a second and clean yourself, but then you're in this like weird, you know, situations where like I can't just like, or I gotta hide and so.
Yeah, I gotta get my together.
And then like, you can't use ear protection. I guess sometimes you can use things to cover, right?
Yeah, I feel bad for the guys back in the day that didn't have like access to the equipment that we do now. Because I mean, when I was in Ranger Regiment, basically we had peltors, which are super easy to take on and off, right? They're attached to the helmet, so I just snap them down when I need them. And not to mention they have active noise listening.
Oh, sweet.
So they amplify all the noise around you. So it's kind of like for gamers out there wearing Turtle Beaches while playing like Call of Duty.
Oh, sweet.
So
it's like sweet headset.
Yeah, so it's like sweet headset, and it amplifies the noise around me so I can hear like people, you know, footsteps and whatnot. But once that a specific decibel hits, they cancel out and become noise protection.
The ear is so complicated, and we take a ton of advantage of our hearing. Earbuds in there, blasting music, all this stuff, and it can cause permanent damage, and we don't know how to fix it.
Know what you have until it's gone, I guess, huh?
That's always. All right, I love me some Escape from Tarkov. It's got all the medications that I would use in the sense of the setting in the hospital. Hopefully they got training on how to use that.
And I haven't seen a shooter game actually get this deep into the meds and what kind of drugs they're pushing and whatnot.
You know, it was so cool. Yeah, I enjoyed watching it. If you want to see me react to anything cool, check out my YouTube channel on Dr. ER.
And if you want to hear Israel and I flap our gums about pop culture, check out Pop Culture Field Manual Podcast.
If you want to see more reacts, check out Gamology on YouTube and Facebook. I love the game, you know, I would check it out myself, and you know, if they ever need like medical advice, I'm their guy.
And how can they find that medical advice?
You gotta check my, yeah, that was so good.
That was such a good one.
Set me up so well.